Have you ever wondered what happens when sharks and humans meet? Today we'll explore incredible shark encounters and learn how people educate others about these fantastic creatures. Stay tuned till the end to discover all the fascinating facts. In 2008, Dr. Simon Fraser, a marine biologist, undertook a vital expedition off the coast of Mozambique. The Indian Ocean's waters were exceptionally clear and tranquil that day. Dr. Fraser's mission was to tag sharks in their natural habitat and gather essential data for his research on shark behavior. As he prepared for a dive, the sun cast a brilliant reflection on the peaceful ocean surface. Simon wasn't alone in his efforts. His team included capable researchers and a document crew who were tasked with capturing every moment of the trip for a series on nature conservation. Emily Johnson was one of them, an experienced underwater filmmaker who knew the beauty and dangers of these waters. Her camera wasn't just a tool, but also a way to show the world how vital shark conservation is. Each team member checked their equipment in the morning, including cameras, scuba gear, and most importantly, shark tags. These tags are essential to tracking shark movements and gathering data about their migration patterns. The air was filled with excitement and pre-dive nerves. By midday, everything was ready. Dressed in his diving gear, Simon gave one final briefing to the team, emphasizing the need to respect the wild creature's space and stay alert. Emily nodded, her camera ready to record the expedition. Together with two other divers, they descended into the blue depths. A stunning scene greeted them as they approached the ocean floor. Simon saw a silhouette of a giant shark in the distance. Schools of colorful fish darted among the corals. A stingray glided by gracefully. The tiger shark's stripes were visible against the sandy floor. Emily positioned herself quickly to take the best picture. He approached the shark with a tag in his hand. Simon was not bothered by the shark's presence. This is a testament to all the hours he had spent in these waters to understand and respect these powerful predators. The unexpected happened as he was about to apply for the tag. The shark's powerful tail caught Simon off guard as it turned quickly. The calm underwater world was transformed in a split second into a scene filled with whirls and bubbles. Emily's camera kept rolling, capturing this rare and frightening moment. Simon was knocked out by the shark's forceful brush against him. The shark may have been startled or just not feeling like being followed. Even though it was only a short encounter, Simon was left with a scar on his arm. The shark's rough skin is like sandpaper. Simon remained calm, which was a feat in such conditions. He then signaled his team to let them know he was okay. They quickly reached the surface. Simon's arm received minor treatment on board the boat. Emily's footage was reviewed to reveal the intensity and rapidity of the encounter, which was a stark reminder of nature's unpredictable nature and the inherent dangers of their work. Simon was not discouraged by the incident despite its unsettling nature. It only fueled his enthusiasm. He knew that the footage would be crucial in changing public perceptions of sharks. Once shared, the video went viral in an instant. The tiger shark's beauty and sudden ferocity captivated people worldwide, sparking discussions about sharks' true nature and the dangers researchers face when studying these mysterious creatures. Simon reflected as the sun set on the Bazaruto archipelago. Simon was shaken but unaffected. His resolve to carry on with his work was more vital than ever. He had no idea this day would start a new chapter, putting him in the spotlight for worldwide shark conservation. Simon's video circulated online and caught the attention of marine scientists and conservationists alike. The vivid images of the close encounter touched a nerve, highlighting not only the dangers marine biologists face, but also the misunderstood characteristics of sharks. What could have been an eerie story became a powerful statement about respecting marine life and coexistence. Simon was then invited to give talks at various seminars and conferences. His story touched many people, and he became a shark conservation spokesperson. During his speeches, Simon often explained that sharks don't have the stupidity people believe they do. They are vital to the ocean ecosystem and deserve respect and protection. Back at the Bazaruto Archipelago Research Station, preparations for a new mission were in full swing. After fully recovering his arm, Simon was ready to dive back into the water. He planned to install cameras underwater that would broadcast live feeds to the world of shark behavior. The project Eyes in the Depths aimed to demystify the actions and habits of sharks by providing a constant stream of data. The project began with viewers around the globe, being able to see real-time interactions among marine species. This included the daily lives that Simon had grown to know. The footage captured moments of peaceful coexistence, curious explorations, and the natural behavior of sharks in their habitat. This initiative further reduced the stigma surrounding sharks by demonstrating them as integral parts of the marine ecosystem rather than fearsome hunters. A new challenge arose, however, amid this success. Local fishermen who depended on fishing were concerned about the growing shark population in their areas. They were worried about their safety and for their catch. Simon saw it as an opportunity to reach out and bridge the gap between conservationists and fishermen. He held meetings with local communities to discuss the benefits of healthy shark populations. These discussions led him to develop safer and more sustainable fishing techniques that could coexist peacefully with thriving marine life. Simon's efforts were vital in encouraging a sense of community stewardship of the marine environment. Simon's influence increased as the months became years. The viral video, which had captured a moment in danger, now represents a movement to understand and protect sharks. His initiatives improved scientific knowledge and changed public perceptions by turning fear into fascination. The story of Simon Fraser, the Bazaruto Archipelago, and their impact on the environment became a testimony to the power that one person has. Even in times of fear and doubt, there is an opportunity to inspire and educate. Years later, Simon was on a boat gazing out over the calm waters that had once tested his resolve. The sun was setting and casting a golden glow on the ocean. Simon felt peace and accomplishment as he reflected on his journey. Rebecca Torres, a competitive open-water swimmer, was preparing for one of the toughest races of her life in the sparkling waters of Key West, Florida, in the summer of 2001. The race was a marathon swim in the beautiful but challenging Florida Keys. Rebecca, known for her speed and resilience, had spent months training for this race. She pushed her limits on the open water she loved. Rebecca was well known in swimming for her lean body and determined eyes. She felt a strong connection to the ocean and found solace in its vast, undulating embrace. It was more than just an endurance test. It was also a tribute to the late coach who taught her how to protect and respect the marine life under the waves. The race started early in the morning, with golden hues cast across the calm sea. The cheers of the spectators faded as the swimmers entered the cool water. Rebecca was in the lead. Her strokes were solid and steady, and she sliced through the water accurately. She felt an adrenaline rush as she reached the halfway point. Rebecca was navigating through a calmer section of water when the unimaginable occurred. She was pulled into the depths by a sudden sharp pain that shot through her leg. The tranquil world she was in became a blur of pain and panic within an instant. Perhaps a shark mistook her for a seal and bit her leg. Rebecca's instincts kicked into high gear, and she struggled to free herself from the shark, her heart pounding furiously. She managed to free herself from the jaws of the shark miraculously, and with adrenaline coursing through her veins, she screamed for assistance. Safety kayakers nearby responded quickly and pulled the injured Rebecca into a kayak. The gravity of the situation became apparent as they rushed Rebecca back to the shore. Her leg was severely wounded, and the bite marks were deep and menacing. Paramedics were on hand and treated her injuries quickly. Rebecca was taken to the hospital where doctors treated her injuries. Physical pain was severe, but emotional trauma from the attack was even more painful. The attack news quickly spread, casting a dark shadow over the swimming community. It also sparked fear and concern in fellow swimmers and observers. Rebecca stared out her window at the sea for long periods while recovering in hospital. The water, which had been her refuge before, now seemed intimidating. Her love for the sea and its creatures was unaffected by the trauma. She understood the attack was an uncommon occurrence and unfortunate of the unpredictable, vast ocean. Determined not to let the incident derail her swimming career, Rebecca made a promise to herself. She vowed to dive back into the waters she cherished and become an advocate for marine conservation. Understanding that fear could either paralyze or empower her, she chose the latter. Rebecca decided to use her experience to educate others about the importance of oceans and the creatures that inhabit them. Rebecca's return to the water was not without its challenges. Physical healing took time, with many sessions of therapy and rehab. The mental barriers, however, were more challenging to overcome. She was frightened every time she thought of getting back into the ocean. Rebecca wasn't alone on her journey. Her family, friends, and the swimming community supported and encouraged her. They reminded her that she was a strong person, not only as a swimmer but also as someone who has always taken on challenges. Rebecca began working with marine conservationists as she continued to recover. She shared her story to change the public's perception of sharks. She felt more determined every day and had a greater sense of purpose. She knew her return to water would be more than a personal triumph, but a testament to her promise to save the creatures who had changed her forever. Rebecca Torres has grown physically and mentally more robust every day since the attack. Her determination to return to her ocean inspired and gave hope to all who read about it. Her journey was filled with ups and downs, but it was a powerful story of overcoming fears and embracing something greater than yourself. Rebecca made significant progress in her recovery with the support and help of her therapists. She endured the pain and pushed through the mental barriers created by the shark attack. She made slow but steady progress. Each small victory got her closer to the sea. Rebecca's passion for marine conservation grew as her wounds began to heal, leaving only faint scars. She spoke about shark protection at schools, community centers, and national television. Her message was unmistakable. Sharks are not the villains they are often depicted as. They are vital for the health of our seas and require our protection. Rebecca was finally ready to return to the ocean. The sea surface was sparkling under the bright sun on a sunny morning in Key West. Rebecca was accompanied by a group of marine biologists and supporters as she stood on the sea's edge. Her heart was pounding from a mixture of excitement and terror. She took a deep breath and stepped into the water. Her body remembered the familiar sensation that the sea was surrounding her. She began swimming with cautious strokes. Her movements were initially timid but became more confident as she continued. The water no longer represented a fearful place but one of healing and connection. Rebecca felt an incredible sense of empowerment and freedom as she swam. The vast, mysterious ocean welcomed her without judgment. Her fear had changed from a crippling force to a force that drove her towards change. She knew this swim wasn't just a return of her passion and a reaffirmation of her vow to protect the waters and their inhabitants. When Rebecca emerged from the water, her family and close friends greeted her with tears and cheers. It was a moment of overwhelming emotion, relief, joy, and accomplishment. She faced her fears and came out stronger. Rebecca's comeback wasn't just a personal victory. It started a larger conversation about how important it is to coexist responsibly with our environment. Her advocacy work expanded and led to partnerships with major conservation groups and initiatives that work towards safer interactions between humans, marine life, and other species. Rebecca vividly remembered the transformative day that reshaped her life. Immersed in the ocean, she gained deep insights into resilience, the significance of respect, and the interconnectedness of all life. Each swim was a commitment to herself and the marine creatures she had pledged to protect. Rebecca found her true self in the vast blue depths and a place she could call home. She felt an enduring connection to the rhythm of the tides she cherished. A curious incident occurred in the summer of 2003 near Queensland, Australia. Both locals and tourists were intrigued by the vivid, teeming water of the Great Barrier Reef. Michael Bennett, a Canadian tourist, was having his first experience snorkeling. He marveled at the fantastic array of colors that the coral displayed and the fish darting through the water. The reef was even more beautiful than he imagined. It was a true underwater heaven. A nature lover, Michael always wanted to explore the Great Barrier Reef. Jack Sullivan was his guide for the day. A seasoned diver with years of experience diving in these waters, Jack pointed out different species of fish and coral formations. The water was warm and inviting, and the day was sunny and clear. Jack told Michael about the legends of unusual marine life that supposedly lived in these waters. As they drifted along, local fishermen often spoke in whispers about the ghost shark, a pale and almost transparent reef shark. It was seldom seen but was frequently mentioned by locals. The locals described it as a mysterious creature, a ghost of the reefs who appeared and disappeared like a cloud. Michael listened to the story with a mixture of fascination and skepticism. He had no idea that he would soon encounter a mysterious creature. The incident occurred quickly and without warning. Michael was hovering over a coral bed when a sharp pain shot through his ankle. He pulled his leg up and saw a small but deep wound that was bleeding profusely. Jack was at his side, dragging him to the boat in a flash. Michael was in pain, but his mind was racing from fear and confusion. Michael had seen a flash of silver, a shark unlike any other he'd ever seen. It was pale like the sands beneath. As Jack administered first aid on board, Michael described the creature he had seen, which matched the descriptions of the legendary ghost shark. Jack listened with intrigue and concern while wrapping Michael's ankle tightly. Michael's mind was a blur as they returned to shore. The bite piqued his curiosity. Why had the ghost shark attacked him? Was the creature defending its territory, or was it acting more sinisterly? Local legends became more urgent and accurate, as did the vivid and real scar forming on his leg. Determined to discover the truth behind the attack, Michael decided to dig deeper into local legends. He began his research at the local library. He spoke to marine biologists and some old sailors familiar with the reef. Each person told stories about how the reef had changed, unusual marine behavior, or the mysterious ghost shark. Michael's wound started to heal and his search for answers grew. He was drawn into the Great Barrier Reef community, its mysteries, and the people who live there. Michael's journey had evolved from a simple vacation into a personal quest to discover the truth about ghost sharks and how the changing environment might influence their behavior. Michael's investigation of the ghost shark phenomenon evolved from a personal pursuit into a more extensive study of the environmental impact on the Great Barrier Reef. He spent his days interviewing, going on diving excursions, and spending late nights reading ecological research. Locals who were initially reluctant began to share their stories about the reef's past and encounters with the elusive shark. He worked with marine biologists in a local research facility, where he discovered the possible causes of the increased visibility. Scientists have suggested that the ghost shark's paleness could be due to genetic variation or an adaptation to environmental stressors such as warmer waters and coral bleaching, which are becoming more common because of climate change. After receiving this information, Michael was even more determined. He participated in projects that involved tagging sharks to track their movements and better understand their habitat use. These tags allowed him to discover that the ghost shark was a frequent visitor to areas on the reef that had undergone significant ecological changes. These data indicated that the sharks may have been adapting to changes in conditions on the reef that brought them into more frequent contact with humans. As he and Jack discussed their findings, a plan started to form. They decided to launch an outreach program for the local community and tourists to inform them about the importance of preserving the health of the reef and the role that sharks play in marine ecosystems. Michael took the initiative to capture the audience with his story and footage from his encounter. The outreach was a great success, sparking interest and action in the community. Local schools began incorporating marine conservation into their curricula. Tourists were also given educational materials on interacting responsibly and safely with aquatic life. Michael's involvement in the reef community grew over time. He established a marine sanctuary where ghost sharks and other aquatic animals could flourish without disturbance. He transformed his initial fear and fascination into a passion for marine conservation. As the project gained momentum, Michael's story began to reach a larger audience. His journey and the ghost shark were featured in articles and documentaries that brought attention to climate change, its impact on marine ecologies, and other issues. What started as a painful experience became a powerful story about coexistence, respect for nature, and environmental stewardship. Michael felt a deep connection with this vibrant ecosystem as he stood on the deck of his boat and looked out at the reef that he knew so well. Once a source of terror, ghost sharks have become symbols of hope and resilience. Michael's efforts helped him change his life and preserve the Great Barrier Reef. Sofia Martinez prepared to film a crucial scene for her upcoming documentary in the sapphire waters of Gansby, Western Cape, globally recognized as the Great White Shark Capital. With her deep passion for marine conservation and extensive diving experience, Sophia was determined to capture footage highlighting the importance of protecting these magnificent creatures and their habitat. This scene was set to be a pivotal moment in her documentary. Sophia and her crew spent several weeks in South Africa, capturing stunning footage of the marine environment and its many inhabitants. Her documentary was intended to foster greater understanding and respect for sharks. Sophia prepared to dive with her underwater video camera as the sun rose above the horizon. She hoped this dive would be one of the most exciting segments in the film. Michael Reed, a shark researcher with extensive experience, and Lena, a safety diver well-versed in emergency procedures, accompanied her on the dive. It was a risky approach that required a deep respect for sharks and meticulous attention to safety protocols. Sophia's camera captured vibrant colors as they descended deeper into the water. A school of fish swam past and a seal looked at the camera briefly before vanishing. Although the atmosphere was calm, each diver was aware of the inherent dangers of their activity. Not long after, the silhouette of a great white shark appeared out of the blue. It was a sight to behold, with its powerful body effortlessly gliding through the water and its eyes reflecting an indifferent, primal intelligence. Sophia was thrilled at the chance to film the shark. She signaled her team and started filming. The shark slowly circled the group, possibly curious to see who was intruding in its domain. Sophia's camera was steady and her focus was intense. She captured every moment. However, the shark changed its demeanor in an unexpected twist of events. A camera reflection or the crew's sudden motion may have triggered it. The attack was chaotic and sudden. The shark bit Sophia's camera and threw her with great force, causing panic. Lena intervened quickly, gently pushing the shark away with a prod, while Michael helped Sophia to the surface. The team assessed the situation once they were on board their boat. Sophia was unharmed but shaken, and her camera was damaged. Thankfully, the miraculously intact footage captured the encounter in vivid detail. The unexpected event was traumatic but also provided an insight into these predators' unpredictable nature. Sophia's mind was awash with emotions as they returned to the shore. This attack brought to light the essence of her documentary, the delicate balance between respect and misunderstanding surrounding sharks. The incident strengthened her resolve and shifted the documentary's narrative to include personal and intensely emotional stories about human-shark interactions. Her life story, now woven into the narrative, highlighted the complex relationship between humans and these mysterious creatures. Sophia's documentary changed dramatically after the attack. Sophia realized that to convey the message of respect and coexistence for sharks, she had to dig deeper into her own experiences. Her personal experience became the documentary's central theme, transforming it into an intimate exploration of shark-human relationships. As Sophia recovered from her encounter with the shark, she reached out to other survivors of shark attacks. She wanted to show the diversity of human responses and emotions to these powerful ocean dwellers by weaving their stories with hers. Each story gave a unique perspective on the fear, reverence, and transformation that often followed these life-altering events. John, an older fisherman, said that his encounter with a shark changed his perspective on life. He went from being afraid to appreciating and advocating for the conservation of sharks. A young surfer, Tanya, also shared her experience of being attacked by a shark. She was left with a deep respect for the ocean and its inhabitants, which inspired her to pursue a career as a marine scientist. Each interview enriched Sophia's documentary, adding depth and complexity to the narrative. The footage of her encounter with the sharks evolved beyond a dramatic highlight. It became the central theme around which she structured her entire film. The documentary emphasized sharks' unpredictable nature and crucial role in the marine ecosystem, illustrating that while they can be dangerous, approaching them respectfully and cautiously is paramount. Sophia and her crew spent several months filming. They captured the interviews and returned to the sea to document shark behavior further. The new dives were accompanied by a keen awareness of their presence as observers in the shark's natural habitat. They took extra precautions this time and used technology to minimize disruption and maintain a safe distance from the animals. Sophia ended the documentary with a decisive moment as the last pieces came together. She returned to her exact attack site but was more experienced and better understood this time. A team of experts accompanied her as she filmed a peaceful encounter with a great white shark, which showed her newfound confidence and respect. The documentary Beneath the Surface premiered with critical acclaim. The honesty and vulnerability of the stories told by humans, combined with the scientific insights on shark behavior and conservation, moved the audience. Sophia's journey from victim to advocate was especially poignant. It resonated with viewers and sparked conversations about wildlife conservation. Beneath the Surface informed its viewers of the importance of sharks in the ecosystem and challenged them with their perceptions about fear and fascination with the natural world. Sophia's courage in revisiting and transforming her traumatic experience into a message for respect and understanding has profoundly inspired people to change their views on sharks and all wildlife encounters. Sophia felt a sense of accomplishment as she stood at a film festival and watched the audience's reactions. Her journey was complete, from the terror of a shark bite to the heights of education and advocacy. She had captured the beauty and complexity beneath the surface of human interaction with nature. James Fletcher, a lighthouse keeper in New South Wales' rugged and windswept landscape, lived a solitary but happy life. In 2004, James Fletcher, an experienced keeper, knew the beauty and loneliness of the Australian coastline. James' days were punctuated with routine maintenance and checks of the lighthouse to ensure that it continued to guide sailors through the treacherous seas. James took advantage of a calm morning to fish from the rocks beneath the lighthouse. The pastime fed him and provided a respite from his solitary tasks. He carefully navigated along the rocky path to his favorite fishing spot. James felt tranquility as he threw his line in the blue water. James was always interested in the rhythmic sound of waves crashing on the rocks, or the cry of distant seabirds. He was so lost in his thoughts that he did not notice the shadow lurking below the surface. The struggling fish on his hook had drawn it closer. James was nearly thrown off his feet when, without warning, an enormous force pulled on the line. He instinctively held on to the line, believing he had caught a large fish. The reality of the situation became clear when a colossal shark jumped out of the water with its jaws snapping violently. James fell in a desperate effort to release the line. The shark's teeth then grazed James' leg, leaving behind a deep, bloody wound. James fell backward against the rocks as a result of the shock and pain. His fishing rod clattered into the water. James was alone and hurt. He knew that he needed to act fast to survive. James crawled away from the edge to avoid further attacks. He then reached for his emergency medical kit, which he had stashed in the rocks to be prepared for such an unforeseen incident. He applied a tourniquet to his wound with trembling fingers, hoping to stop the bleeding. James realized that he had to return to the lighthouse. The rocky terrain and his injury made it difficult. James's determination was evident in each movement, which was a challenge of pain and endurance. James's survival depended on his ability to reach the lighthouse and access the radio to make a rescue call. The trip back was painful. James took frequent breaks to catch his breath and gather the strength to keep going. James was beaten down by the sun, which made his situation worse, but he kept moving because he knew a rescue would come. He finally saw the familiar lighthouse silhouette in the distance after what seemed to be an eternity. James fell at the base radio equipment as he arrived in safety. James sent a distress call, describing his location and situation in a weak but urgent voice. Leaning against the wall and waiting, he hoped his message was heard, and that help would soon arrive. James Fletcher had been a lighthouse keeper for many years, and was familiar with the dangers of the sea. His story of survival was now underway. It would soon spread throughout coastal communities, and raise awareness about the dangers lurking in the seemingly calm waters. James Fletcher waited impatiently for an answer to his distress signal as he lay against the lighthouse wall. He was in intense pain and tried to maintain consciousness. His lighthouse, once a place of peace and solitude, is now a place that tests him in ways he never expected. As the minutes ticked away, the sun began to sink below the horizon, casting long shadows in the room. The lighthouse's light flickered automatically, sweeping its light across the ocean. It was a stark reminder of the vastness around him and his uncertain rescue. The radio crackle finally broke the silence after what seemed like an eternity, announcing that a rescue team was en route and help was coming. The message was clear and reassuring. James felt relieved but understood that the situation might still escalate. Aware that the nearest rescue team was far away, he knew he had to remain alert and awake. James started writing down his experiences to keep himself occupied. He began writing in an old journal, not just to document the events, but also to keep his mind occupied and to stave off the creeping fear. He described the attack, his pain, and the grueling walk back to the lighthouse. He also wrote about the shark and his reflections on his unexpected encounter, which nearly cost him his life. James ponders the beauty and danger of the ocean as he writes. He hoped to convey this theme to others. He realized his story could be an essential reminder to the coastal community of the need for respect and caution regarding the ocean. A helicopter's sound broke his concentration. As the rescue team approached, the lighthouse's windows lit up. James gathered his strength and moved toward the door. By the time help arrived, James's energy was almost spent. The team moved quickly to secure James and provide immediate medical care. James was transported back to the mainland and felt a mixture of emotions. He was grateful for his rescue, but also sad for what happened. Recovery was slow but steady. James wrote during his recovery, transforming his notes into an engaging narrative. After he recovered, James began visiting local schools and community centers to share his story and its valuable lessons. He stressed the importance of greater awareness and preparation, which was well received by his audience, many of whom had lived their whole lives near the sea but never considered the dangers. James's story gained traction in local papers and social media. He was soon invited to speak at larger venues, including marine conservation events. His first-hand account of having survived a shark attack and his role as a lighthouse keeper captivated the audience, reminding them about the power and mystery of the sea. His experience and subsequent advocacy had a far more significant impact than raising awareness. The experience sparked an enduring dialogue on marine safety and conservation. This led to improved safety measures and education programs that focused on coexistence with aquatic animals. Years later, James Fletcher remembered that fateful day as more than a near-death experience. It was a momentous occasion that enabled him to effect positive change. His survival and storytelling allowed him to continue to protect sailors' lives as a lighthouse keeper, and countless others who ventured out into the ocean are now more prepared and respectful. A crisp morning in San Francisco Bay, California was filled with nervous energy and excitement. It was time for the annual triathlon, a highlight of the year for local athletes and a significant boost to local businesses. Emily Dawson was one of the triathletes and environmentalists who participated in the event. She was devoted to environmental conservation in the Bay Area. It was 2001. She had trained hard for months to improve her swimming performance. The swimming segment began at dawn, with the sun barely reaching the horizon and casting a golden glow on the calm waters of the bay. The spectators lined the shore and cheered loudly when the swimmers jumped into the cold waters. In a bright orange cap, Emily found her rhythm quickly, and her strokes were solid and steady as she navigated the rough waves. The atmosphere was energetic as the athletes concentrated on their speed and technique during the race. Unknown to them, a silent shadow lurked beneath the water's surface, drawn closer by their vigorous movements. The bay, known for its rich marine ecosystem, is home to numerous seals and a variety of fish, making it a frequent haunt for sharks. However, today's shark presence added an unexpected element to the usual scene. A great white shark attacked Emily without warning. The shark likely mistook her for a seal. Emily was dragged below the surface by a sudden, brutal impact. As swimmers near her noticed the disturbance, screams were heard over the water. Safety kayakers raced to her rescue. The attack was short, but it caused significant damage. Emily was pulled quickly from the water with her left leg badly injured. The event was stopped immediately. Emily was taken to hospital amid a media frenzy. The attack was not only shocking to the participants, but also spread fear throughout the city. San Francisco was enraged by the news of this attack. Residents, business owners, and government officials began weighing the risks of wildlife encounters against the economic benefits of tourist attractions and sporting competitions like the triathlon. There were concerns about the effectiveness of safety measures and the impact that increased marine activity could have on wildlife. Emily was in her hospital bed, grappling with physical pain and shock from the incident. She became the unintended front of this debate. Emily's story became a topic of discussion on TV news, at city council meetings, and in the public. The city was at a critical crossroads as it tried to balance human activity with wildlife preservation. Emily's recovery was slow, and she began to think about the incident as she dealt with her injuries. She realized that the incident had sparked a conversation about nature and coexistence. Emily was determined to ensure that her experience would have a positive outcome. She decided to get more involved in the local politics. She wanted to promote policies protecting athletes and tourists, and preserving and respecting the bay's natural habitats and marine life. Emily found a new purpose as she interacted with conservationists and community leaders. Emily's unfortunate experience in the bay waters gave her a platform to speak out and influence change. She was only just beginning her journey to the core of San Francisco's safety and environmental policies, but she was determined that it would have a lasting effect. Emily Dawson's recovery grew, and so did her determination to influence local policy regarding the coexistence between human activities in San Francisco Bay and wildlife. She combined her experience with the debate in San Francisco on safety and wildlife travel, and became both a victim and an advocate. This dual perspective allowed her to bridge the divide between conservationists, policymakers, and concerned citizens. Emily's initial step was to create a series of community forums that brought together various stakeholders. The forums included marine biologists, tourism officials, business owners, and residents. Each discussion explored different aspects of the problem, from human impact on aquatic life to the community's economic dependency upon tourism and sporting events. Emily's calm demeanor and factual approach helped facilitate discussions often rife with conflicting emotions. Her story was told in local papers, and many people followed it. It added a personal element to the statistics and ecological data. The numbers were not the only thing people could relate to, but Emily's story also helped humanize the discussion. She called for better measures, such as improved monitoring of marine activities, public education about marine life, and enhanced safety protocols at water-based events. Emily began working with local government officials to create new safety guidelines for water events. These guidelines include using drones to monitor marine wildlife during significant public events and installing more visible warning signs regarding potential wildlife encounters. These measures were vital because they ensured safety without affecting the aquatic ecosystem. Emily also pushed for better environmental protections to help prevent future incidents. She supported restrictions on water activities during peak migration for marine animals and research into shark behavior and habitats in the bay. Her efforts resulted in increased funding for marine science, with a particular focus on how human activities affect local shark populations. Her involvement continued with local initiatives. Emily's advocacy and story reached a broader audience when she was invited to speak at national environmental safety and sports conferences. Her recommendations and insights began to influence coastal communities facing similar challenges. Emily's advocacy profoundly impacted the world 2 years after the attack. The triathlon was held in San Francisco Bay, and safety measures were improved this time. Participants were also educated about marine environments. The triathlon was more than just a competition. It also showcased the city's commitment to safety and environmental stewardship. The city council unveiled a plaque honoring Emily's courage at the event. This plaque served as a constant reminder of the importance of maintaining a delicate balance between protecting and enjoying the natural world. After attending the event, Emily felt a deepened connection to her community and the bay, reinforcing her commitment to environmental stewardship. Emily reflected on her journey as she observed the swimmers navigate respectfully and cautiously. What began as a personal loss has become a community-wide awareness of respecting and protecting the natural habitats that make San Francisco Bay unique. Her work altered safety protocols and cultivated a greater appreciation of marine life, an integral part of the region's identity.